Good afternoon. This is the Central Florida Computer Society and the Windows Special Interest Group, the WinSIG, for Sunday, November 8th, 2020. I'm Huey Poplock and welcome. Oh, isn't that nice? I wonder what that was about. Anyway, we're here and we've got an interesting set of items for today. And if you haven't checked lately, if you go to huey.net and then go to WinSIG, go to the meetings for November for 2020, find the November one, and there are all of the items that we're going to cover today. And these are all links to the articles I'm going to show you. And that's how you can find them. And then if you go to last month's, whoops, I went to last year. I don't want to do that. Go to last month's, and I'll do this again within a couple of days. I will also put at the bottom the recording of this meeting. So please make sure you
If you've recently upgraded Windows 10 to version 20H2, you know that the control panel is now something you really can't get a hold of anymore. Getting it back, but in order to do so, you have to type something into the run box and then typing in some great big number. As
I'm hearing a
There's
video.
A much.
And I just actually shut it off, and I'm sorry, but you couldn't hear it, I think, but I could.
I did.
I did.
I even recognized the voice.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah. At the end, I'm going to show a couple of videos if we have time that Bob did. They're very, very well done. So anyway, and I closed the pages out because I actually opened up the link on YouTube and one of them started on me. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to cover today is read this to understand Windows 10 update names and numbers. So one thing that I was hoping to do, and I think I can do it this way, I am going to do a print friendly. And if you don't know what print friendly is, you aren't a member, one of the audience of our Tech for Seniors. And Dewey Clues has been talking about it. Anyway, this simplifies and takes all the junk out of the web page. So what this article does is tell you what the new naming convention for Windows is. And the latest version is called 20H2 instead of 2010, because they figured everybody was trying to figure, the 2004, everyone was thinking, well, it was 2004 when it was version 2020. That was the first 20. And then 2000, the fourth month was the 04. And so it was really confusing people. So it looks like they finally decided to help us a little bit. And the H2 means in the second half of the year. And then 21H1 will be the one who comes out in the spring. H2 will be next fall. So it says right here, here's a list of the development code names, and you can see what they are. So that's how to figure out what the names are, and just read the article if you get confused on what names are which. And so here's a version number for the Windows 10 updates. The October 2020 update is version 2009, which refers to September 2020, and so on. So let's go ahead and we'll close this. And so that's that article. Got through that quickly. Now, there's 4 ways to access Windows 10 Advanced Startup Options. And again, I'm going to, there's something built into Chrome, but for some reason or other, I'm not seeing it. So let's see, let me try that first. I think it's here. Bookmarks, oh no, that's for the bookmarks. There it is, right here. Okay, now we'll do it. Okay, set your device, Google Chromebook. No, that's not there. So again, I'm going to come back here. Here are some advanced options for startup. There's startup repair, startup settings. Let's see if I can make this bigger, 100%. I guess we can't make it bigger than 100%. So the command prompt, uninstall updates, system restore, and system image recovery. So booting into advanced startup, these methods are provided for you to able to access the desktop, and you can do it with the shift key and the plus restart. Right click the start button. And so let me show you. If I right click the start button, you get a menu here. And what you'll see is down at the bottom, you can see several different things here, and you'll see the power options and so on, apps and forms, just like you're seeing here. So let's just watch this. So hover your mouse over the shutdown, and then while clicking the shutdown, I'm not going to do that because I may end up rebooting my computer. You click restart. If you want to do it via settings, you can go to settings, update security and recovery, and then click the restart button now, and you'll see right here in the picture. And if you're unable to access the desktop, by default, Windows is set to restart an advanced startup if it fails to start or load properly. However, this is not certain, and there may also be times Windows will load fine, but due to reduced functionality or unresponsive system, the usual options are not feasible. So you can start Windows, and as soon as you see the Windows logo, press and hold the power button to force it to shut down. Repeat this process 2 to 4 times, and Windows will eventually open up in the advanced options for you. Note, whenever I've decided, this is the writer of this article, to do this on a client's machine, it's always worked after 2 forced shutdowns. And of course, you might have to stand on your left foot and turn around with your finger in the air to make it work as well. The bonus, create a desktop shortcut, and it tells you how to do that as well. I think we talked about the desktop shortcut to shut down, but there is also several different switches in that command line that you can put. One is to go into the startup mode. So that's a good article to have for your library. We'll close that one down. The next one is the Windows 10 startup process to change. Now, I try to avoid for these Windows SIG meetings to talk about what's coming if it's too far in advance, what they're working on. And the reason I do that is because you'll start looking for it, and sometimes they never happen. And I'm not real comfortable in telling you, hey, this is coming, and then it doesn't come. But this article I thought was pretty good, and I saw similar information in several places. I'll move the mic a little bit closer to me here. Sorry about that. The Windows 10 startup process is going to change. Users must keep an eye on the settings. So Microsoft is going to warn Windows 10 users when an app will start up automatically and when they start their computer. The move is designed to prevent the startup process being slowed down against the user's wishes. I got an email earlier this week, and it might have been one of you that's on here, that said their computer was really slowing down. And one of my suggestions was to check to see what's there on startup, because as you install programs, a lot of programs say, okay, well, you need to put part of me in memory so I can open quicker when you need me. Well, a lot of times you don't need that. So users already have the ability to manually decide to switch what automatically starts up when you switch on your computer. I think I showed that last month, but I'll show it to you again. One of the ways you can do that. But with this new thing and Windows, hopefully what they're going to do is make it so when a computer program installs, when you install it, it's going to tell you it's putting something in there that's going to make it start when you start your computer. So it's going to give you a prompt. And so let's take a look. If you want to know what actually starts, what you want to do is go to your task manager. Now, what I did is right mouse clicked on my taskbar, and I'm going to open up the task manager. Task Manager is a program now in Windows 10. If you're running Windows 7, it may not look like this, because one of the things here is where your startup is. You click that. This is everything that tries to open when you start your computer. There's a lot of things there, but some of them I've disabled and some are disabled. Some I can go in, you can go into the program itself that it's trying to do it and tell it not to do it at startup. But you can look and see, well, there are certain things here that, like Evernote Clipper, I want enabled. The program, everything that I have, I like enabled because I bring it up. And when it starts up, it immediately does an index of your whole computer. But I really probably don't need the iDrive background because it's not working right anyway. This program right now, the Crisp, I really don't need that at startup. So if I wanted to eliminate some of the things in startup, I could do it right here. So if, let's say, Crisp, all I have to do is click, right mouse click, and disable it. As soon as I do that, it's disabled. If I want to re-enable it, I just right mouse click and hit enabled. And that's all you have to do. Be careful when you're doing this manually. If you're not experienced, or if it is something you're not sure what it is, leave it alone, because you might shut off something that needs to load when you start your computer. And if you disable it, your computer may not run properly. Now, the Snagit that I have, right now, I turned it off for this program because it gives me a drop down that is that's usually up on the top of my screen. And so I shut it off. I remembered to shut it off today. I don't always remember. But at one time it wasn't enabled and I had to go start the program every time, go to the menu and so on. I wanted it. So it was one button away just by pointing to something. So you might want to look to see what's starting up when your computer starts up by going to your task manager. And then hopefully when one of the newer Windows updates comes, probably next year, it should tell you when these things, when programs are installed, that it's going to start up automatically on you. Let's go ahead and stop the share for a moment. See if there are any questions or comments. Anyone? Don't forget everybody's muted, so just raise your hand or something if you want to say something. If not,
I think it's a great idea.
I have a question about your print friendly. The print friendly you mentioned?
yes.
Will you cover that either sometime today or in tomorrow's Tech for Seniors meeting?
Well, yeah, actually, I believe Dewey is going to do the second part of the print friendly, some items about it tomorrow and the Tech for Seniors.
Good enough. Good
Yeah,
enough.
and he's done the first part. You can go back and look at the video of that, but it's a
Okay.
program that allows you to print without all the junk, but you can also, as you can see, open up the screen and look at articles without all the menus and the ads and all the other junk that's there. It's just an add-on that you, if you're using Chrome, just go out, find the extension, do a search for it. If you're using one of the other browsers, so however they do extensions or add-ons, it should be available.
It's on the list for tomorrow, and he's talking about installing the extension of Print Friendly, so it's all there for tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ron.
Okay, I want one more thing about it.
Sure.
You know, Google is ending their print from Google, the Google print, I believe it is.
Cloud.
Does the print friendly help with that?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. Anyone?
Oh,
Yeah, I can answer that. You're talking about Cloud Print, and they're ending Cloud Print, which is usually we use that for Chromebooks. So this has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with Cloud Print, so it's not the same thing. This is really where you take information from a site like if you're if you're on a news site or you go and you're looking at a CNN article and you see all that garbage that you see in the around the corners, and you want to just take it, it strips out all the advertising and just makes it as a PDF where you can email it or save it and so on and so forth. But it strips all and formats it so it really works out well.
Huey, if you're going to use the print friendly on your screen share, it seems to me that you can make it bigger. I mean, I know you can make it bigger by holding the control key down and using your mouse wheel.
I will try that when we go to the next article and see if that works. Thank you.
It looks like a great idea to use print friendly, because that does get rid of all the junk you're not trying to talk about. So I will try that in my case, but I just found out that you can expand it and make it bigger. That's what you were trying to do.
That worked in all browsers, control and the mouse key up or down, up larger, down smaller.
Right.
Yeah, Control Plus and Control Minus should do it as well.
Right.
Any other comments before we go back? I think somebody else had a question too.
Just one more comment is that also the Windows browser, I'm having a senior moment. Edge. In reader view, it does the same thing. So if you go to reader view in Edge, it'll strip all the stuff out as well. So there are other ways to do this other than print friendly, but reader view in Edge will strip all the stuff out and do the same thing.
Yeah, in fact, I use Evernote, and Evernote has the ability to do that. When I save an Evernote note, I can tell it make it a simple article, and it strips all that stuff out and just saves it.
The immersive reader takes out all pictures, whereas print friendly does not. You can eliminate them, but print friendly by default leaves the pictures there, whereas the other one automatically strips graphics out of it.
Okay, so let's get back.
Go
ahead.
The Brave browser does the same thing. It removes all advertising.
Okay. New Windows 10 features will detect a failing SSD. This is another one of those articles that's talking about something that's coming. It's not there yet, but I thought this was good, especially the fact that I no longer have a hard drive in my new computer. Or I shouldn't say no longer. I ordered it without a hard drive. I only have an SSD card in there. It's 4 terabytes. I want to know if it's failing. So what Microsoft, let's see, let me go to the print friendly. Whoops, come on, print friendly. And let's try to make that bigger and see what happens. Yep, oh, you're right. Beautiful. Okay, Microsoft has announced Windows 10 Insider Preview build with a number will help monitor the health of the SSD storage. SSDs have many benefits over traditional platter hard drives. They're really fast and they're more energy efficient since they have no moving parts. And if you have a very small computer box like I have, mine's only 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches by 2 inches. Having a 4 terabyte hard drive in it is very nice, and it's on one of these SSD card. It's got no moving, they're faster, they're energy efficient, and they have no moving parts. Just as important, they're less prone to damage. So when a traditional hard drive is stopped, the head can impact the platters, scoring them and causing major damage. With no moving parts, this is less of a concern with SSDs. By the way, after this meeting, if you just stay online, the main meeting of CFCS, the speaker, is going to be from a company that if you have a hard drive failure and you can't get to the data, not because of your computer, but because of the hard drive itself, they have a clean room that they can go in and they actually can work on the platters and take the information off the platters. So that should hopefully is going to be a very interesting discussion that he's going to bring to the main meeting after this Windows SIG meeting. Okay, so despite their durability, SSD do have a failure rate. Corrupt data, weak solder joints, failing chips, and other factors can cause an SSD to fail. Once they begin to fail, they tend to go quickly. Microsoft is looking to give users a heads up when an SSD is about to fail, giving them time to back up before it's too late, which I hope you're backing up on a regular basis anyway. The latest preview release includes the new feature. Attempting to recover data after drive failure is both frustrating and expensive. The feature is designed to detect hardware abnormalities for NVMe SSDs and notify users with enough time to act. Strongly recommended that users immediately back up their data after receiving a notification. So I think that's, at least Microsoft's trying to help us as much as they can anyway. So next article in my list is how to stop Windows 10 from updating. I know some people, Mike Ungerman, that don't like to update, at least when they first come out. And so they're very careful on, let's see.
At least 7 days.
Yeah. And just some cases, 7 months, right? Yeah. Mike is one of the most cautious people I know, much more than I am. A lot of times I'll go in and as soon as it's ready, I'll put it in. I'll try it. Anyway, so the latest Windows 10 features update, Windows 10 October 2020 version 20H2 is just around the corner. Well, it's actually here. I'm running it. And the Windows users are already in a dilemma whether to install it on their system or not. And why wouldn't they? Well, Windows has a history of feeding the half-cooked Windows updates to users that several times caused a severe system malfunctioning, like what a half-cooked food does to your body. Every year, their Windows 10 operating system, Microsoft releases 2 major updates. I'm not going to read every word here. Let's see what. While it may be harmless going to the new Windows updates on your spare computer, you should avoid installing it on your primary systems until there's clarity on the bugs and errors it may cause. That's why Mike likes to wait at least a week to see what articles are out and which, who's having problems, if anybody's having problems with it, and so on, before he would update. Fortunately, you don't have to take much trouble to block updates on your Windows 10 system. Unlike older times, Windows now provides you with options to delay any kind of updates on your system. So here are the steps to make sure October's Windows 10, October 2020 version 20H2 feature update is away from your system. The difference between the Windows 10 cumulative and feature updates. First, check what version are you using. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can open up the run command and type in WinVer. You can go to About Windows. But if you're on Windows 10 version 1903 or 1809 or lesser, you must immediately move on and update to the latest Windows 10 1909 for stability. The reason you must update is that Microsoft will end its support for the Windows 10 version 1809 starting November 10th, which is just a couple of days away for version 1903. And the end of support will be December 8th, 2020. The end of support means you wouldn't get any more updates for those versions, including the latest security patches. So basically, Windows 10 version 1909 and lower would be outdated and hence vulnerable to cyber threats. And unless you update yourself to 1909 or 2000 or 2004, you're always at risk. If you're on Windows 10 version 1909 or 2004, you might see the option on your update settings page that said feature update to Windows 10 version 20H2 is ready, along with the download and install link. To avoid installing it, never click on that link. That makes sense. Along with that, you must also avoid clicking on check for updates option. Pause updates on Windows 10 version 1909 or 2004. If you're using Windows 10 version 1909 or version 2004, you will get the option to pause updates for at most 35 days from the update settings. And here's how you can do that. You go to settings and then update and security, which is down here. And then under Windows Update, you'll get the option to pause pause updates for 7 days. You can click on it 5 times to pause the update for straight 35 days. Now, why does Windows 10 update so much? The group policy editor, let's see, that's just a question that's in there. That's not answered here. But anyway, probably most of you aren't using group policy. That's usually in enterprise groups or if you're on a major network from somebody else. So there is some information on that if that's something that you want to check on, and I'm going to skip over that. Stay on your current Windows 10 version. Now, if you're on version 2009 or and you do the update, it's going to update through 2004 to the 20H2. So it's going to take quite a while to do the update. When I say quite a while, it could be anywhere from a couple hours to a couple of days. When I say a couple of days, it has taken some people I know that long. It took me, I think, several hours to go from 1909 to 2004. But if you're on 2004, the update, to me, I think it was less than about 10 minutes. So if you're already on 2004, it's not a huge update to go to 20H2. So I wouldn't worry about it as much. If you're ready to do it, it's not going to be a time-consuming thing. But like I always say, don't do any of these updates unless you're backed up. So back up first and then do the updates, because it knows that you didn't back up, and that's when you'll have trouble. If you update, you shouldn't have any trouble at all. But it will know that you didn't update. Let's see. When should I update to Windows 20H2? I've already done it. I had no problems. I know Bob G has done it. Probably several of you have without any issues. So that's it for that article. Comments. Let's take a break here and see if there are any comments on this.
I updated
Yeah.
to Insider when it was first available, and then checked off the box to discontinue the Insider after the release came out.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Insider, that's the beta program where you're getting releases to public, but you have to apply for it, and you have to basically let them know that that it could fail and could be problems. Let's see, somebody else. Pete, Peter.
Yeah, I have on 2 of my PCs, including my primary machine, the update is being offered. On a third PC, and they're all currently running version 2.0.04. On a third PC, it's not being offered, but that's the computer that I'd like to update first because it's my least used. So the 2 computers where I don't want to do it yet, it's being offered. On a third computer where I do want to do it now, it's not being offered. Is there any way I can force the update?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it. Not if Microsoft says it's not ready yet for an update, don't force it. You're looking for problems.
I hear that on the days following Patch Tuesday every month. And I don't know if what's good or bad about me, but all of these nightmare problems that I hear about every month, I have so far never once had any of those problems. So I guess I shouldn't be complaining about that, but on my third down the line PC, I'm fine. If the whole thing crashes, I have a disk image of the boot drive. I can go back pretty quickly, but I'd like to give it a shot.
Yeah, I believe if you go to Microsoft.com and Windows 10, and I can't remember exactly where it is, there is a page where it'll give you instructions on how to download it and run it.
Okay.
Anyone else before we go back?
If he's got a
Sometimes
backup,
when I look for, or turn the machine on and go to check for updates, it says, oh, you're up to date. But I know it's not because I knew I didn't do the patch one and I didn't have the H2. And so I check for updates and then it tells me, yeah, you need these updates. So, but when I first look at it, it says I'm up to date. So that's puzzling.
Yeah, sometimes I have to do it a couple of times. I'll do it a couple of times just to make sure. Sometimes it'll do an update and then it'll say you're up to date. And then I'll do it again and tell it to
More.
check, and bingo, there's more.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not rocket science, but it's always not as accurate that I would like it to be.
If you do the about, like mine did 2 of the 20 H2s, and look at about, and it says it did 20 H2, and it gives a date, and it's back in May that it was done. So it didn't update. It did it on 2 computers.
Not-
Didn't
Not
tell
in
me
May.
that it was done.
It wasn't
today.
it wasn't ready in May, so I don't
No.
know.
I know. That's when I did the 2004.
Correct.
So it never
Yeah.
did the update or updated the information that it was correctly.
Well, you could go to your history of updates. Does
Yeah,
that give-
Oh, it's done. It's just that it didn't say it had the wrong date.
yeah, the wrong date on it.
Hmm.
And
Okay,
probably on everybody else too. Not a big deal, just curious.
no, I have not had that problem, but I can understand where it might happen. Okay, and then there was one more in the beta news. And if, by the way, this is a really good website. I go to it for a lot of information. Let's go there and then plus. It's called betanews.com. And that's how I keep up with a lot of things before they happen. But while there's a lot to be said for having certain programs run automatically when you turn on. So this is more of what we were talking about. Them letting you know that when something's going to be Microsoft Teams is now configured to run when you log in, that sort of thing. So it's just a little bit more of what we talked about. Let's see, next article. Oh, remove recently added apps from Windows Start menu. Now, I don't have mine turned on, but there's a way to turn it off. So let's take a look at the article. A lot of times when you run the Start menu, and let's see, let me move down here a little bit. If I run my Start menu and I open it, at the top, some of you may see recently added programs. Well, mine's shut off, and this is how you can shut it off. It's there by default, but if you want to remove it, what you do is when you launch the Start menu, you see a recently added section at the top of the apps. It lists the names and icons of recently added programs. And that's what it's going to look like. It's going to say recently added right at the top. To hide the recently added section, you need to open up Windows settings. You can get there either by clicking the gear icon on the Start menu or using the keyboard shortcut, the Windows key and I. You go to settings. Once you're in settings, you're going to go to personalization, background, lock screen, and colors. I wish people wouldn't use the dark background when they're doing screen captures to show us things. It's hard to read sometimes. But in the personalization section, click on the Start from the column on the left side of the bar, find a setting, and you'll see show the apps list and Start menu, show recently added. I can't move my mouse over there because it highlights the whole thing. Show recently added apps. It's turned off on my machine. If it's not turned off on yours, you can just click it off and it will no longer show. If you decide you want it back there, you can turn it back on. And so then the next time you open it, it'll look like mine. It doesn't have the most recently added apps at the top. Just something to clean it up and not clutter your screen with things that you don't look at anyway. This was an interesting article on 12 ways to open up File Explorer. in Windows 10. 12 different ways to do the same thing. One is use the keyboard shortcut. Let's see. Well, the first one is click on the taskbar icon. And that'll be the little file thing on your desktop. Now, when I do it, well, I have a couple of things open right now, so let's just close them so you can start from scratch. Here's how I can start. When I do it, it opens it up and I put it on my other screen. So I'll bring it over here. It looks like this, and let me make it a little bit wider here. Mine defaults to this window. Now, sometimes it doesn't. And so what I like to do is I also add on my taskbar, and I'm not sure if you can see it in Zoom or not, but on the bottom, this PC is what I open. I like to have this screen available for me as well. That's called this PC. And how you get there is in Windows, go to the menu, and then go, I believe, if you type in this PC, it's at the top. I right mouse click, and right now mine says unpin from start or unpin from taskbar. If it says pin from taskbar, just click it and you can pin it to your taskbar. I like to have that as well as the folder file, the Windows Explorer or the File Explorer, as well as this. So I have both of them. As if you can see that. Let's see if I move it up to this over to the side here. I may have it locked. I do. But I have both this PC and File Explorer on my taskbar at all times, because I open them a lot. Okay, you can also use the keyboard shortcut on the PC, and it's the one with the Windows icon. You can open File Explorer by Windows and the letter E. So you hit the Windows key and the letter E. You can do it via Windows search, like I just did when I opened up this PC. If you type in File, it comes right to the top. You can click it and it'll open it as well. From the Start menu, you can go to, you have to go to Windows System. So you go here. Now, a little trick in case you don't know this. If you click on any letter at the top of the list, whether it be A or B, let's do the B, for instance. It gives you a telephone dial or type, I call it telephone dial. And then I can go to W, and then it takes me directly down to the Windows or the W. And I can go to the Windows accessory, and there I should find my what's the Internet Explorer? Where's the where they moved it on us? Or did I look in the wrong place? Windows System, and then File Explorer. I think they moved it on us, is what they did. W, Windows, Windows System. I was looking under accessories. There we go. And there's where File Explorer is. There's where the control panel is. This PC is there. You can take any one of these, and if you wanted to have the control panel on your taskbar, you go to More and then Pin to Taskbar, and your control panel can be always accessible from your taskbar if you want, as you can with almost anything that there's a menu item on. Let's see. You can go there. You can choose which folders appear on the start, and you can set that. Let's see, come down from the power. If any of you are a power user, use the power user menu. There's ways to do it. You can ask Cortana. You can use the run application, which is basically a DOS prompt. You just type in Explorer and it will find it. You can run the source application. By default, Windows stores File Explorer exe file in the Windows folder on the C drive, C:drive. Navigate to the Windows folder and Windows.exe in the long list and double click it, and you can open it that way. Wow, is that a long way around? You can add a shortcut to the desktop, and you can do it from the task manager as well by running a new task. from the command prompt, and again from PowerShell, and that's it on that article. So there's all kinds of ways you can get to the same thing. This one isn't running. Let's try that again. There we go. So you can get to the same thing 12 different ways. And that's why, whoops, something opened up. And so let's stop share for a moment. Just like anything else in Windows, there's lots of ways to get to it. And that's the nice thing about user groups and user group meetings is when somebody shows you how to do something, you may do the same thing, but have a different way to attack it. Yours might be easier or better than the speaker, but sometimes what they're doing will shorten your time span and things that you do. So that's a nice thing. You're sharing those ideas with each other. And I think it's a lot of fun, and it can be helpful too. Any comments from anybody?
Huey,
Yes, Mike.
would you open your File Explorer again quickly
Sure.
and share your screen?
Yeah, I ought to do that, shouldn't I? Well, you're going to tell me how to do something. And I just
Windows
do it.
Z.
Okay.
Click on the view in the menu at the top.
Yep, right up here. Oh yeah, I did a whole session on that. You can change the looks of this extra large icons. Let's go to a folder where it really shows up. I'm going to go back. I like details, but let's see. Let me find a better folder here. Let's go to. Let's go to pictures because I know that's no. Go to documents.
User group newsletters. Yeah.
Go here and just trying to think of a good place to go. Article for blogs. Now this is how I store some of my stuff. So let's see. Here's my Starlink stuff. Okay, so we're looking right now under view. If we look at extra large icons, it's going to look like this. So you can actually see all of the pictures and what they are. If you go to large icons, they're going to be a little bit smaller, but you can still make them out. Medium icons.
Hit details.
Right, details get you back into the old DOS way of looking at things.
And go ahead.
I know what you're going to tell me to do, I think.
Well,
Go
you've
ahead.
already got it checked, and I'm going to bet that as at least one, if not more, people here on their computers have never enabled file extensions.
Okay, I'll get to that, but let me just show you. Let me show a couple of things on when you're looking at your File Explorer. One is you can open or close, well, not open or close, but make bigger like you would on a spreadsheet, any of the columns. So if you can't read everything, you can make it bigger so you can read them. That's one thing. The other is you can reverse the order of them, or you can change. Okay, I wanted to go by the latest date, so it puts the folders at the top and then by date, or you can reverse it and it goes the other way. You can do it by type, so it puts all of the JPEGs together, it puts all of the PowerPoints together, and so on. And size, so if you want to know, well, okay, I need to delete some files, I want the biggest ones, you can sort it by size and pick out the ones you want and delete from there. I always like to have name and then have alphabetical down with the starting at A, in other words. And then it does the folders and then it does the files. And then what Mike is talking about is you could have two file names of different types. And you have, after the period, a designation of what the file type is. In this case, is a JPG. And a lot of these they are. But it might be a PNG, it might be a PDF, whatever. And it can be that it doesn't show. And what you have to do is where it says file name extensions, make sure that's turned on. If it's turned off, what happens is you can't tell except by the icon or by this column what it is. And I really like to make sure, and by default, Microsoft leaves that off. And
Going
so
all the
what,
way back to Windows 3.1.
yep. And so I always turn that on first thing when I get on anybody's computer and when I get on mine, because that way, if you've got a file called 2antennas.jpg and 2antennas.doc, they're totally different files, totally different types of files, and yet they have the same name, but you can't tell that they are different until you see the file extension.
The danger is if you have a file that's xyz.jpg.exe and you don't show, you are looking at it and you think it's a JPEG when it's really an exe, an executable. And that's how you wind up getting infections on your computer and you don't really know what happened.
That's from Bob G, our security expert. And so it's another good reason to make sure you always have that turned on. Mike, is there anything else about this? Let's see, we looked at details, we did the icons. You can do it with just a list and it just lists everything. You can do it with tiles and it looks like this. And
There's
content.
other column headings that was mentioned in chat.
Okay, and what was that? I'm sorry.
If you take a quick look at chat, there was a post saying there's other column headings that we don't show up there, like length for a video.
And you can change that under, I believe it's.
No, if you just right click on where the columns are, on the column headings, right click on it. I use it for videos.
Yeah, there you go.
It'll show me the length of the video.
So you can add date created, date modified, date taken,
All kinds of stuff.
size, column to fit, and then there's more, and there's all kinds of things you can have in columns. So by all means, take a look at that. If it doesn't give all the information, or if it is a list of albums and you want to really know the dates and some of the other information they may not be showing, you can make it show. Yes, good point. Thank you.
Huey, Mike Leach. I go to the sort by, and then as you hit sort by, it shows all the column availabilities. Go to your left a little bit more, up right there. Go back. Sort by.
Here, up here.
Up on the, oh, no. Go up to where it shows details.
Top center.
Details, top center, exactly. Over to your right, Huey. And there it is. Yeah, and when you do that, you can see the availabilities, but you just did the same thing in a different version, which I had not seen. But here you can select the various items that you want and then sort them. So as you go across, I prefer to do a date created and a date modified. And so therefore I can check my files. It's just another way of verifying which is which and which is the newest and oldest. But anyhow, that sort by is a very helpful tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. And I don't use it that way. I use it the way I showed you because I use a spreadsheet, and that's how I do it in a spreadsheet. Okay. The other thing is now the way mine shows here is I have on the left I don't know what you call it. It would be the different, my OneDrive is here.
Navigation pane.
Yeah, navigation pane and so on. But I can turn that off by clicking here and it goes away. But I want it on, so I click here and it comes back. You can have a preview pane. So over here is a preview pane. So if I go here, I can see a picture. So right within File Explorer, if I go to any picture, I can get a preview pane, but not only pictures, but let's go to a PowerPoint. I see the cover. If it's a WAV file, I don't know what I'm going to see. Here's a PDF. I can see the PDF in the preview. So if you want to, if you're looking for something that might be a way to do it, turn on the preview pane. And you can turn it off, come back here. I guess you just click it again. You can do a details pane. And so each file again can give you information about that file, whatever it is. it gives you a lot of information about it. And that's the details of that file. And that turns off just by clicking it again. So there's a lot of things you can do with your File Explorer to make life easier for you. You can have item checkboxes. What that means is you can click. And so if you have a hard time clicking, and like I do, I'm doing it by holding my control key down. But if I click, I could do it, turn them on and off by clicking the checkbox if I wanted that. And then if hidden items, I show hidden items. If you're in a folder that has hidden items, you're going to see them. But if there are files that, boy, you better not touch them, turn that off. Or if you're helping somebody else with their computer and they really don't know a lot about files, a lot of times they'll delete stuff that they shouldn't delete because it's hidden. But if you turn it off so they can't even see it, they can't delete it. And then there's some options over here, change folder and search options. And then I have a clipmate bar that I can turn on, and my Adobe Acrobat bar. So, okay. That one, we went off on a tangent on that, but I think I hope a lot of you learned a little bit about using your File Explorer. I know there's been a lot of user group meetings have had meetings on File Explorer. Sometimes we pay attention, sometimes we don't remember because it's not of value, but having seen it again sometimes makes people remember, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or I forgot that I knew that. So yes.
This is Mike Leach. Going back to the options, so that all file folders of the same nature will be filed the same way. If you go to this PC and you select those columns that you really wanted, and then you go to your options, so that then you want everything of similar nature to have the same column structure as this PC. And it's worked fairly well for me, but occasionally not. But that way, what it is, every folder beneath this PC will be sorted in the same fashion as this PC. In other words, a master folder above, everything below it will then appear in the same fashion.
Okay, and there's also something that Microsoft did, and I played around with it, and I think I screwed it up, but let's see what happens. If I do this, and I go to my downloads folder, this isn't the way Microsoft defaults the downloads folder anymore. And sometimes it looks like this, and other times it has the last folders that you used and the last files you used at the top, and it's a date. And I found an article of how to turn that off, and sometimes it works and sometimes not. If I go to a program, and I want to open and go to a file that's in the downloads folder, it'll give me the other way. So I wish I hadn't changed it, but there are sometimes I'd rather have it this way because I can find it easier. And by the way, when you're in a folder like this, and let's say I want to find something, let's see, I'm in the downloads folder. I want to find something that begins with the letter S. If I just type the letter S on my keyboard, it takes me down to the S's. Saves a lot of time. So when I go to my folders and I go to my documents folder and I want to go to my Zoom folder, I hit the letter Z and I'm there. I hope that helps somebody. No comments. Okay. And let's see, let's go back over here. Windows 10 brings MS Office Start Menu surprise. This is from the same guy that writes quite a bit of articles on things that are coming. But Microsoft has added links to Office web apps on Windows 10 computers without asking permission. It's more of an irritation than a damaging problem, but it's certainly safe to say some folks are irritated. The links appear to have been added by an automatic update, with some users reporting, let's see, and I didn't do, hang on, let me go back to this. Sorry about that. The links have appeared to be added by an automatic update. The links appear in the start menu alongside other apps as a single tile that contains several small icons for Office components. However, they aren't actually apps in themselves. Instead, they're links to the online version of Microsoft Office opening up in the Edge browser. Now, I don't know if mine's going to open up in the Edge browser because that's not my default, but let's take a look at what I'm talking about. I'll go ahead and minimize this. I'm going to open up my start menu, and you'll see right here, even though I have installed Office 365 on my computer, and I have Word, Excel, Access, and so on, I have an Office icon here. When I click that, we've made some improvements. I just say, no, I'm just going to close that. And I'm online. So here are the various programs. So if I open up Word, and then say new blank document, it's actually, okay, new blank document. Where did it open it? It didn't. Click here. Maybe it's underneath here. It is, okay. Sometimes when you can't find something, folks, it's behind what you've got open and smaller. So there is my, it actually opened it because I have the Windows 365 installed. It didn't work the same way. The other day when I checked it, it did. What it does is let me open up. I don't need that. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't find. Come on. And I'm going to go back here. So what I want to do is let's open a new window. And I have a button here that takes me to Office Online. And what it actually is doing is taking you to here. You'll notice how the icons are along the side. It's the online version. So if you don't have Office installed in your computer, if you look in the start menu and you see that Office box, you have the free online version, and you can open up whatever you want. And I think when I click on something, it's going to open it up on my computer because I have the programs installed. But if you don't have them installed, it will go out to the web and open up the web version of it. And you can use it as long as you're not doing anything really involved in any of the Office programs. You have available Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, OneNote, a to-do list, a family safety, a calendar, and Skype, all online for free. Play with it and see if you don't have, if you're not, excuse me, if you're not an owner of Office, you still can use the Office products. Now, not only is this true on Windows, but if you have a Chromebook, if you have an iPad, or you have an Android phone, or you have an iPhone, or you have a Mac, you have access to Office on Microsoft Office Online by going to, I believe it's office.com, and then running it. You just have to get and have a Microsoft account, either a Hotmail account, an Outlook.com account, or a Microsoft.com account, and you can create one for free and then have Office for free. It saves everything. Excuse me. It saves it on the cloud. So you can go from one program to the other, or I'm sorry, one device to the other, and open up the same document. I'm going to mute myself for a second to clear my throat. Hang on. And put in a Cepical lozenge too. So free versions are Office, known officially as Microsoft 365 for the web. These are free versions of tools such as Word, Excel that run in a web browser. They include some basic functionality, including collaborating with other users, but exclude more advanced features that are only available in subscription or standalone purchase versions. For most people, what you want to do in Word or in a spreadsheet, you can do in the free version. No disk space is used. This setup means that the update isn't actually taking any hard drive space, but the icons do clutter up the start menu. if something of matter is a matter of opinion, how serious this issue is, and so on. So you should be able to have the Microsoft Office available to you, even if you don't own it, by clicking on that box in your start menu. I noticed somebody put something in the chat. I don't know if it was about it or not. Is there a free version of MS Access? And I don't believe so.
No, there never has been.
No. Okay, so that's that article. How are we doing on time? It's getting there. How to use the new Facebook activity log. I'm not going to show my Facebook for security reasons for other people, not so much for me, but as much for other people. But again, we're going to go with the print friendly of this, make it bigger. We'll use this article because I think they have some screen captures to give you an idea. If you're a Facebook user, there is now something called a Facebook log. And if you look at the top of your screen, I keep moving my mouse over that. And when I do, it changes to a yellow. And I apologize for that happening. But if you click that little down arrow, it says click here. What happens is you'll go to settings and privacy and you click there. And then you'll see activity log. And you click on activity log. This is where you'll where it now is. And here you'll be able to see what activities you've been up to on Facebook. And you can archive, whether you archive or trash, timeline review, photo review, and so on. And then you should notice a similar menu to the left, and this is the filters. And right now on this one, it's set for the timeline review. And on this screen, you'll see your review in the center, and scroll scroll down to see more posts if you'd like. On this screen to the top right of the page, you can click the gear settings icon. You will now be in the timeline review settings screen. Here you can disable or enable the timeline review. To change it from disable to enable, click on the down arrow option on the right. And again, I'm not going to go through each of these items. Not all of you are Facebook people. I'm pointing to where the article is. You can get to it from huey.net/WinSIG and then today's meeting notes and the article, and you can go take a look and follow through and see what you want to do with that. So there's some ways that you can change the settings for privacy within Facebook. How to browse. Oh, this is neat. Let me this is from How to Geek. The Wayback Machine is an online service that frequently crawls websites, taking snapshots of sites at a particular point in time. Using the Wayback Machine, you can see what almost any site looked like throughout its lifespan. Websites change frequently, so do laws governing these websites, whether due to data loss or new censorships on content or even just out of curiosity. The Wayback Machine allows you to see content that no longer exists on the web. You know, that's why they say once it's up on the web, you can guarantee that it's out there somewhere. The Wayback Machine can also be used for troubleshooting. If you have a website, or in a case where I had a couple of cases where somebody wanted me to take over a website that no longer existed, and I was able to go back through using the Wayback Machine to see what their old website looked like and the information that was there, and I was able to capture some of the data to use in the new, the updated website that I was going to do. On the next, let's see, so you'll browse the history, and the next page you'll see a timeline with all the years that contains a snapshot of the entered website. There's also a note on how many snapshots the website there are between the two dates. And so you can, there's a pop-up menu and so on. So my next link, close this, and here's the Wayback Machine. So let me make this a little bit bigger so you can read it. This is the actual website, so I am not going to change it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in, let's say, CFCS.org and see what we get. Browse history. It's going out looking. And look at all the way back to 1997. You'll see, let's look, what did it look like in 1997? There's the dates. We got to click on one of these. Oh, there's dates here. Oh, July 2nd, one snapshot. I'll go ahead and click here and click here. I think it's supposed to open. Yeah, there it is. And there is what the CFCS website looked like back then. That's when we had a resource center, Mike, remember? And Stan. And when MagicNet was our host and support. And
97, I guess we had declined our membership from about 1,500 people back then.
Yeah, and let's see, membership info, special interest. Looking to see if there's something else here. Links, happenings. Let's look at happenings and see what we may not, that page may not exist in the Wayback Machine. But let's see. No, doesn't look like it. It takes a while. Yeah, it is. Okay. 2 general meetings, when we met at the Cirrhosis Women's Club and so on. And I'm going to try to make this bigger just to see. Yeah, we can. Some really, it brings back some memories, and you can do that with a lot of websites. Some will be in the Wayback Machine, some won't. Let's go back.
That's really nice.
So it's fun, but sometimes you can find some information you're looking for that's long gone as well. It's called the Wayback Machine. It's a web.archive.org, or you can just go to archive.org and get to where you want to go. But another thing to waste hours if you want to. And next thing I want to do, and I got to go back to Huey.net because I deleted the 2 links that I had the last, well, I can get it from here. Here. And where'd they go now? Would you notice? I don't see it now.
Up at the top on your bookmarks.
There's what I want right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and open up the URLs, and then whichever one starts, that's the one I'm going to use.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct.
We'll skip
in Windows 10, there are many ways to display the system information. There are even different displays for system information. Let's go through how to get to it in different ways, and then let me show you 2 different ways to actually look at system information. The first way we're going to go to get to system information is through the Start button. Click on Start and click on the Settings, and next click on System. And that's one way to get there. Next way is a little bit simpler. Use your Windows key and the I for information. Click those 2 keys. From here, you can now again click on System, and you're right back to the same thing. That's the second way. Just use the keyboard shortcut of the Windows key and the I key, and then select System to get to the system information. Let's do the third way. On the right side of the computer, the notification button or icon, click on it, click on All Settings, Information, and again, here's your system information. One more way. In the last video, I showed you how to pin the old control panel onto the taskbar. So now this time we're going to open the control panel that we had pinned in the previous video to the taskbar. Once you open it from here, you also have a way to get to the system information. If you do a left click on system in the old control panel, you'll notice that the display here for your system information is exactly the same as in the previous 3 steps. But there's now a different way through the control panel and the system icon within the control panel to display system information in a different way. Let me show you how you do that. This time, instead of doing a left click on system in the control panel, we're going to do a right click. And if you do a right click and select open, you now get to see the old way that we used to display system information before Windows version 10 release 20H2. So you now know many ways to get to your system information, how to open it in different ways, but you also now know a different way to display that system information. Stay safe, be free. I hope this helps.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Okay.
If you've recently upgraded Windows 10 to version 20H2, you know that the control panel is now something you really can't get a hold of anymore. I've seen a lot of talk about getting it back, but in order to do so, you have to type something into the run box and then typing in some great big number, as you can see here. There's a much easier way to always have access to the system control panel, and I'll show you how that's done. Let's start by opening up the search box and then simply type in control, and it's already there. See it up on top? It says control panel. This is what we're trying to make easy to get to. Instead of clicking on it, which opens it, do a right click on it. And when you do that, you have a couple of options. One is to pin it to the start menu. The other one is to pin it to the taskbar, and that's the one I'm going to select, pin to the taskbar. Once that's done, you'll notice that down here, I now have the control panel, and when I click on it, it opens. Of course, we want to see more than just this, so simply go down where it says categories, and select small icons, and here are all the things readily available to you in the control panel. The nice thing is when you close this, it's not gone because it's still sitting in the taskbar, and anytime you want it, just click it and it reopens. It's that simple, that easy. Stay safe, be free. I hope this helps.
Thank you, Bob. Bob is on here, did these. And he's got all kinds of little tidbits like that on his YouTube channel and on his in his blogs. So there's a plethora of information out there for all of us. These little tidbits that help us. Those are all the items I was going to cover today. Any comments, questions? I haven't checked the chat box because I'm busy with the other things. I know Mike's been kind of watching it. Is there anything else? Let's see, Dorothy, you have a question.
Oh, hi.
Yes, I noticed that you had.
Hang on a second, Dorothy. It was before whoever was just talking. Then I'll come back to you.
It has to do with your.
Alexander, hang on a second. Let Dorothy go, and then I'll call on you.
Sorry, just 2 quick questions. I noticed Bob, when he was doing his demo, had a yellow circle around his large mouse. Does he do that fix in the accessibility area?
No, I believe Bob, you can answer that, but I think it's part of Screencast-O-Matic, correct?
Yeah, it's the program that I use.
Oh, okay. And another question I have, a lot of our members, when I connect to their computers, a lot of them aren't signed in with a Microsoft account, and they don't have, they just turn their computer on, they have no password. So I'm trying to explain to them that they should have a Microsoft account. Is it a big deal to go in and create one for them?
No, it's very easy. Actually, you can just, you go to, I'm trying to think of the best way to do it. Just go to Microsoft.com, I think, and create an account. Once you create it,
you can do it within the settings.
You have to do it. You have to get the account first, and then you put it in the settings, I believe.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, they obviously wouldn't see this new Microsoft Office because it's online if they're not signed into Microsoft account.
Well, they'll see that, but I don't believe they can use it. It'll ask for them to sign in.
Oh,
because everything is stored out on OneDrive, and if they don't have a OneDrive account, they can't use it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Alexander, you had a question.
Right. Trying to understand your computer memory arrangement. I thought on your Explorer list on the left, it showed that disk 3, disk C. And I was wondering whether you had a hard disk in there or you just have SSD and it's allocated somehow.
Yeah, let me show you.
And how you do your backups, where?
Okay, let me, let's see, oops, what I wanted was here. I have OneDrive, and it's 4 terabytes, and that is an SSD. That's my only drive. It's there all the time. I do have an SD slot that I could put probably a 256 gig and maybe bigger SD card, you know, the little ones that like in your camera, and I can plug in external drives and add more drives as well. But I have one drive, I have one partition, and let's see, you can see all of the things.
That's not a physical disk then, that's SSD.
It's not it's an SSD card, that's correct.
And your backup is done where?
Okay, I have a Cronus True Image 2021, and I back up to it probably about once a month. Sometimes I'm a little less than that. I might do it every couple of months, and that's bad on me because I really should do it more often. But I also have iDrive, although I'm having a problem with iDrive having it do it automatically. It's saying it fails, but it isn't. And I've been on with hours and hours with their tech support. We haven't solved it. I think it's a software problem on their end because it's getting backed up to the iDrive cloud. And when I say iDrive, that's not the same as OneDrive. iDrive is a private company similar to what's the other backup company that's out there that a lot of people use? Anyone? I just can't remember the name of it.
Carbonite.
Yeah, Carbonite. It's similar to Carbonite, not expensive. And I have, we're giving 2 terabytes for, I think it was $65 a year or $75 a year. And now it's up to 5 terabytes for the same price. And I've got close to 2 terabytes out there because you can have multiple computers backed up to the same cloud. So I'm able to back up a couple of computers. My Chromebook has got some of the local files I back up to it. You can do some of it manually. I think I have it, but there's different ways to store out on the cloud. But I do make sure that gets done so my data is always backed up. I hope that answered your question, Alexander. I'm sure there's other people. Mike, what are you using for? I know you didn't. You have some bad. Yeah, he's using something called Macrium Reflex. He had some problems with Cronus and decided to switch to something else. Anybody else use it?
They're fairly equal in what they can do. The nice thing that I found from Macrium Reflex is that the free version will do almost what the paid version will do. So for the average person, to get a complete image of their hard drive quickly, easily, and at not much expense, Cronus has a lot of very good features.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with when we say an image, if you're familiar with a zip file, well, in essence, that's what a Cronus and Macrium Reflex do, is they take everything that's on your drive, including hidden files and everything else, make one giant zip file with all the folders and subfolders in it so that you can get a new drive, put it in place and restore it, and everything will be right where it was. And you turn on the computer, in most cases, it works.
Peter. Windows 7 backup and restore. Been there since Windows 7, still works in Windows 10.
Okay, Peter, you have a question?
I use Cronus. I think it's great. Been using it for years. I create a complete image of the boot drive in each of my PCs twice a week. And I keep the 10 most recent backups. So that takes me about 5.5 weeks back in time if I need to. If any one of my drives, boot drives, crashes, the amount of time between when I open the case of the computer, put a new drive in, restore the image file to the drive, and have a completely working system as if nothing had happened is maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast it is. Now, when I bought my new computer, I had probably a terabyte of files, 1,000 gigabytes of files of data. And all of that was backed up in my image file. Well, I could take my true image, I installed it on the new computer, and then I said, okay, restore my documents folder, my downloads folder, my pictures folder, my videos folder, and everything that it ended up around 900 gigabytes. And within minutes, it was all there. And to transfer them from one computer to the other would have taken probably days. So yeah, it is blistering fast.
It is a great program. I don't even know how much it costs. And at this point, I honestly don't care how much it costs. Whatever amount of money they want, they get it from me.
User group members can get it from Gene Barlow, which his company is called User Group Relations. And his price is about half price. And so I think it sells for around $50 a year now. And I think his price is around 25, but you may have to buy, but each computer requires a separate license. So if you have 3 computers, you got to buy 3 copies of it.
Looks like Chris and Jim have a hand raised.
Oh, I got them over in the corner, and that's where my microphone is. Sorry about that.
That was old. We got it. Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments? It's close to 3. Stan, is our speaker signed on? Because I don't know, and I don't know if okay.
I spoke to him at 11:30, and he has my cell phone number, and he said he was had a lot going on today. Mentioned something with his son, but I don't know. I'll give him another 5 and then give him a call, I guess.
Okay.
I put a note into the chat though, Huey. There was a pop-up earlier talking about Zoom 5. Can you tell us anything about that? Is it a new version of Zoom, and is it worth trying to get?
I am not sure what version I'm on, and the way to do that is check the little checkbox up at the top left, and then go to settings. And if you go to statistics, I'm on 5.4.1.
That's the latest.
Okay. So
And
what
I
you
can
do,
see I
there's
need to update mine.
there's a little checkbox at the top left of your screen if you're on Windows.
Top left.
Top left with a little green shield, and there's a check mark there.
Yep.
When you open that, if you have a recent copy, it should have a gearbox to the right.
Yep.
And click that, and then go on the left. There's some settings. One of them is statistics.
Yeah.
And about 3/4 of the screen down, it'll tell you what version. Which version do you have?
5.3.1.
Right. In order to be using Zoom, I believe if you don't have 5.0 right now, you aren't on this call. Bob, isn't that correct?
Correct.
So you're running at least 5.0 if you're on here now, but 5.4.1 is the latest. And I understand Monday, there'll be a new version.
How do you update? No, I've got a 5.1.2. This is Mike Leach.
Well, there's a couple of different ways. It depends on how you get to Zoom. A lot of times when you just sign off, it'll come up and say there's an update available. Do you want to install it? And you say yes. If not, if you're running the app, you click the app, and I don't recall there's a way.
Do a right click on the app.
Yeah, and it'll say
and check for updates.
Yep, and it'll do it.
You can go to zoom.us/download, and you can download the latest versions for every platform they support.
Yeah, if you don't yet have it installed, but if it's already installed, then just do the update through the program itself.
But if you can't figure out how to do the update, that is, you can still download it and just run the run the install, and it'll just reinstall it. How do you contact the man to get the discount for the Cronus? Gene Barlow, I think it's UGR. Hang on a second, I will get that address for you.
It's Gene@ugr.com.
He changes his address sometimes, so I want to.
Yeah, one step ahead of the sheriff, huh?
Yeah, so let me make sure of the right address. I'll get you the it's UGR7, I think he's on, but let me get my browser up.
Yeah, it's ugr7.com. There's a picture of Gene and Linda, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I hit the wrong. I learn how to type. I got a 50-50 shot at it every time because I only type with 2 fingers.
I just shared it. There's my screen.
Okay.
User group relations. In fact, all clubs really should. This is a great resource for you. So it's got True Image 2021. Disc director.
Right, and he's got a link there to download, and you can order it right from his website. And go to products, Mike. And he's got the price, list price, and the user group price of all of the models, of all the versions, I should say. Good, thanks, Mike. So it's half price of the retail, full retail. Okay, any other comments, questions? I know Stan's trying to get a hold of the speaker for his meeting. My meeting is pretty much done. I am going to stop my recording. But before I do that, I need to, hang on one second.
I can report to you that we have very little wind in Sarasota and no rain.
Thank you.
Well, it's blowing like the dickens over here in Southeast Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. It's nasty out there.
That would imply that it's headed this way.
Oh yes, you're gonna get it. Don't worry. I'm sending it your way.
No, you can just do whatever you want.
About the 30-mile sinkhole.
I worry about that because I'm a little guy. Yeah, doesn't take much for me to drown, but it hasn't worked so far, so I'm good.
Oh, you're all wet.
But that's true.
Okay, folks, this has been the Central Florida Computer Society Windows Special Interest Group for Sunday, November 8th, 2020. I'm glad you all either joined us live or you're watching the recording on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you next month or on one of the other places that I'm at.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Thank you.